We were so close to having Flight 10 potentially in June, and unfortunately, if you were watching the coverage last week, you know that that's not going to happen anytime soon. I was in Chicago for the last week, but now that I'm home, I wanted to give you an update on what's going on down at Starbase as they pick up the pieces. If you didn't know, there was a dramatic Ship 36 anomaly on June 18th. In other words, a massive explosion rocked the Massey's test site during a 6-engine static fire test, leaving the test stand in ruins and Ship 36 in pieces. So there's several questions moving forward. Not only how soon will they be able to rebuild and have the 10th Starship test flight, but there's another question. Should they continue testing these V2 Starships that we know haven't had a good track record at all, or should they rebuild in a way that they can move directly to testing V3 Starships? And there's some concerns with either of those directions that they choose to go. I haven't talked to you since we did the live stream of Ship 36. Rest in peace.
Right, pieces.
Pieces. I have been out of town for a week, and I know that people want an update. Construction, resumes. What you were texting me yesterday about sort of your prognostications going forward. So just lay it on me.
All right. Well, the last time we talked, we had that disastrous test, and of course, they've been now going through the process of trying to clean up Massey's, and that process is underway. They also are trying to get a kind of a sense what is needed for them to get back to flying Starship. And it's kind of presented a little bit of a dilemma for SpaceX, and it's something that they're going through right now. And what I mean by that is this event happened at perhaps one of the most critical and difficult times for SpaceX, because they were right in the middle of ending the V2 Starships and the booster their design and flying those, and transitioning to the V3 booster and V3 ship. And there is enough of a difference between the two that it's causing them to have to make a choice. Do they want to rebuild Massey's, which is where they do the testing for the ship and boosters, to accommodate the V2 ships so they can do static fires and cryogenics? Or do they just decide to go right to the V3s? And that's very important for a couple of reasons. First, the old tower, the original tower, can only fly the V2 boosters and ships. The new tower can only fly the V3 boosters and ships, so they can't interchange between the two. The second thing is Massey's is the only place with the hardware that they had to be able to do that cryogenic and the static fires. So do they put the time and the effort into upgrading or rebuilding it so they can do the V2s for just 2 more rides and then have to take it all back apart and then do the V3s? Another big factor on that is that you have to dedicate workforce to do that. You're either having the workforce out at Tower 2 doing all the construction to prepare it for operation, or you redirect the workforce over to Massey's to rebuild. So regardless of what they choose, there's going to be delays, and it's going to be difficult. And also, if they decide to go to the V3s, they scrap the last 2 V2 ships, and they have 3 V2 boosters. So they're going through that process to figure out what is the right way ahead. And I think from what I'm hearing is the damage at Massey's was more extensive than they were thinking. So it's going to require a lot more of the repairs, and there's a lot more equipment that they're going to have to source and install. And of course, that decision on do V2, V3 is weighing on their mind. So I think that we're not going to see one of those miracle couple weeks back to flying. I think this is going to put us well into the fall. And of course, there's other ramifications of that too when we think about 2026 and some of the missions that they need to do. Trying to go to Mars and how this is going to affect that. Also, we know the Artemis program is gearing up soon, probably with maybe by the first couple of months of 2026, they'll try to do Artemis 2. And then immediately after that, we'll be preparing for Artemis 3, which would feature the HLS version of the Starship. And right now, they're certainly not ready for that. So.
And what do you think that they're going to go with?
It's a very difficult decision. If I were down at SpaceX faced with this choice, a couple of things I would think about is we don't have the data for the heat shields, and we still haven't actually physically determined how the aerodynamics of the relocated front flaps are and all that. So we have two ships that are ready to go, or very close to be ready to go, versus the V3 ships are not, constructed yet. So, or at least they certainly haven't been assembled. Parts of them are being installed. So if I could, I'd try to use the two that I have, and hopefully we can get the usable data, because that data is going to inform what we do on the V3 ships. So let's say we find out something significant on the heat shield and it affects what we're going to do on V3. I would like to know that before I start building the V3s. So I think if I were there, I would sort of bite the bullet, try to rebuild Massey's enough so I can do 2 more cryogenics and 2 more static fires of the V2s, and then rapidly try to move over to the V3s. And the way you could do that, and it would be a little bit more cost, but you buy the equipment that you need for the V2s, but you also buy the equipment that you need for the V3, so it's on hand, or at least in the order process, so that you can rapidly switch over.
So what specifically is different about it that Pad A can't launch a V3?
A lot of it has to do with the physical connections for the quick disconnects. The new boosters have 2 different quick disconnects versus the one for the current one, and they're located in different spots along the ship. And the V2 ship has a different quick disconnect than the V3s as well. So the entire plumbing that you would connect to the tower to be able to put the cryogenics in, put the power in, and all the other support equipment that you connect with the quick disconnects is completely different. Another big difference is that the chopsticks for the catch, the mechanisms that they have, the rails and the shape and the size of that are incompatible with the catch mechanisms on the new boosters and ships.
I saw that they're also gating the Starbase Village communities.
Yeah. Well, we have talked about that before. If people have a chance to come down to Starbase, do it as soon as you can, because things are going to change. And one of the biggest things that's recently changed is that Starbase has been incorporated as an official new city, which means they have a city council and they are able to make their own choices. And now that they have that, they can start putting up barriers or making changes like they are a city. And the areas that have all the housing, which you could go as the public down there through the housing community, they're going to be blocking all that off. And it's partly because they're building that city up. They're going to have a lot more people there, a lot more children, a lot more families. So they want to have that segregated away from the public. So those gates will be coming up. And I kind of expect that is one of many changes that we're going to be seeing.
What do you think about the fact that we won't have NASA leader for probably another 6 months, which would make it a full year?
I think that's really very bad for the NASA itself. A lot of the programs, the scientific missions that they've got going on are what they had planned. It also is going to affect the Artemis program. And of course, we're going to have to see what the Senate and the Congress does to the proposed bill from or the budget from the president, and see what the final look is on that. But yeah, anything that has to do with those the scientific missions, the Artemis program, any changes in direction, budgeting, and reallocating of resources is more or less on hold, because the current administration of NASA are essentially just I don't know, we can call them stand-ins. They're temporary, and they don't have the ability to make the large policy decisions that they need. And also, it's a critical time because we're talking about Starship and what they're doing with their current program. And I know that NASA needs to be working with, in this case, say SpaceX, to figure out what does this mean for the Artemis program, while we don't have the official NASA administration, and they can't make the big policy decisions. So it's a very difficult time. And by not having Jared in when he would have been, has now put the whole nomination process into a delay, and then they got to go through the confirmation process. So we're looking at end of this year or maybe into next year before we see an actual administrator. And I think that's just another thing happening at a bad time.
It's such a joke. Oh my God. All right. Well, thanks, Joe.
Oh, hopefully that was helpful.
And just another news update. There is an article from Bloomberg talking about how SpaceX, quote, polluted the border area according to the Mexican president. SpaceX responded to this, saying, as previously stated, there were no hazards to the surrounding area. Previous independent tests conducted on materials inside Starship, including toxicity analyses, confirmed they pose no chemical, biological, or toxicological risks. And, as is the case before any test, a safety zone was established around the test site and was maintained throughout operation. Despite SpaceX's attempts to recover the anomaly-related debris, which is and remains the tangible property of SpaceX, these attempts have been hindered by unauthorized parties trespassing on private property. We have requested local and federal assistance from the government of Mexico in the recovery of anomaly-related debris, offered resources and assistance in the cleanup, and have sought validation of SpaceX's right to conduct recovery operations. SpaceX looks forward to working with the Mexican government and local authorities for the return of the debris as soon as possible. So again, as of now, the Mexican president, Claudia Sheinbaum, has only threatened to file a lawsuit against SpaceX over what she describes as contamination following that explosion that we saw. However, I wanted to read you SpaceX's response since this is a big story right now. So I hope that you enjoyed this quick update, and let me know in the comments what you think SpaceX should do. Do you think that they should continue to test the V2s that they have remaining, or if they should move directly to Starship V3? I look forward to reading your comments, and thanks for supporting my channel. I'll see you in the next video.